As we meet here today, a second Armenian genocide is underway, brought about by Aliyev, a man who has a terrible record on human rights, even as it applies to his own people. I've met with him in the past, twice in Baku in 2013, 2014, and raised issues relevant to Nagorno-Karabakh, but also to his own people, who he puts behind bars, who he tortures, including Radio Free Europe stringers for that organization. This man has a terrible record on human rights, and now he is unfettered in his hate towards the Armenians and is committing, as we meet here today, the second Armenian genocide. I've chaired two hearings, one in June and another one just a few weeks ago. Emergency hearing was the last one. And we heard from Ocampo, who's the former chief prosecutor for the International Criminal Court, who called this for what it is, a genocide. Then he was talking about the deliberate starvation that they were imposing upon the people of Armenia. And now it's at a barrel of a gun, and this so-called ethnic cleansing. That doesn't say it well enough when we all say that word. This is a genocide. We call on the administration to do even more. Samantha Power is there, as we know, and I'm very glad that our USAID administrator has raised the issue with all involved, providing humanitarian aid. It's got to get there quickly because people will die, and certainly they're very, very much at risk as they flee, which should never happen. And matter of fact, this to me reminds me of what happened in Srebrenica when so many people were killed in that genocide. Frank Wolf, who led the effort with regards to Sudan years ago, when nobody would call it a genocide. He's here with us today and has been outspoken in his strong condemnation of Aliyev. But again, Aliyev should be at the criminal court for crimes against humanity, which he is committing, again, as we meet here today. Last week, I introduced legislation called Preventing Ethnic Cleansing and Atrocities in the Nagorno-Karabakh Act, H.R. 5686, joined by Brad Sherman, who is the lead Democrat on the bill, Gus Bilirakis, and many others. That bill would do the following things. Dispatch U.S. diplomats to the region to monitor the situation, but not to monitor it the way we had it during the wars in the Balkans. We would have people there from the European Union and some from America who would take notes as to how many people were being killed. Frank and I went there so many times when Milosevic invaded, and it was like, what are you doing? You're just, what happens to these reports? So we want monitoring with action attached to it. It would institute 24-hour video monitoring of the Armenian cultural sites, authorizing humanitarian assistance. Again, some of that is already flowing, and I congratulate Samantha Power on that. Impose new sanctions. I was the House sponsor of the Global Magnitsky Act. We attached it to a must-pass bill because it was tied up, but it is the law. There are very serious sanctions that could be imposed now, today, on Aliyev and all of his gang, so that they can't do business with America and they cannot get a visa, two of the main parts of that sanctioning regimen. Do it. Don't wait as people are dying and starving. And, of course, the trek of those who are exiting, that is a very perilous thing with people with bayonets and guns surrounding you. It would provide foreign military financing to the Democratic Republic of Armenia, which could be very helpful, we think, to them. And important, terminate all U.S. military aid to Azerbaijan by repealing the presidential waiver of Section 907 of the Freedom Support Act. That needs to be done. Doesn't take legislation. We should pass this legislation immediately, but the president can do it this afternoon if he was so inclined. Thank you.